The skies over Washington, D.C. turned tragic last night. A horrifying collision claimed the lives of 67 souls. An American Airlines jet, Flight 5342, collided with a U.S. Army Blackhawk helicopter. The wreckage fell into the icy waters of the Potomac River. The nation watched in horror as the news unfolded. The crash, a brutal reminder of life's fragility. The victims, our friends, our neighbors, our loved ones, their dreams and futures extinguished in an instant. This was not just a crash, it was a collision of hope and despair, a stark intersection of ordinary lives with unimaginable tragedy. The American Airlines flight, a routine journey home. The Blackhawk helicopter, a symbol of national defense engaged in a training exercise. Their paths crossed with devastating consequences. As dawn breaks over the nation's capital, a somber cloud hangs heavy. We mourn the loss of life. We grapple with the unanswered questions. We search for solace and meaning in the face of unbearable pain. The American Airlines jet, a Boeing 737, was on its final approach to Reagan National Airport. Flight 5342, originating from Wichita, Kansas, carried 64 passengers and crew. Among them, members of the U.S. figure skating community returning from a competition. The Blackhawk helicopter, a UH-60, was on a routine training mission. 3 U.S. Army soldiers were aboard. The helicopter, a familiar sight in the skies above Washington, D.C., was a stark reminder of the nation's military presence. The collision occurred at approximately 8:45 p.m. EST. Witnesses described a bright flash in the sky, followed by a deafening roar. The impact, violent and catastrophic, sent shockwaves through the quiet night. Debris rained down on the icy waters of the Potomac River. Air traffic control recordings reveal a desperate attempt to avert disaster. Controllers instructed the helicopter to maintain visual separation from the passenger jet. But it was too late. The collision, swift and brutal, left no time for evasive maneuvers. The investigation is in its early stages. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, has taken the lead. Experts are combing through the wreckage, searching for clues. The black boxes recovered from the depths of the Potomac hold vital information. Why did the collision occur? How did 2 aircraft operating in controlled airspace collide with such devastating force? These questions haunt investigators and the families of the victims. Was it mechanical failure? Human error? A tragic confluence of unforeseen events? Air traffic control recordings will be meticulously analyzed. Weather conditions at the time of the crash, clear but cold and windy, will be scrutinized. The training records of the helicopter crew and the experience of the American Airlines pilots will be examined. The search for answers will be long and arduous, but it is a search that must be conducted with unwavering resolve. The victims deserve nothing less. Their families, desperate for closure, deserve to know what happened to their loved ones. Section 4. Hope fades to grief, rescue turns to recovery. In the immediate aftermath of the crash, a massive rescue operation was launched. Emergency responders raced to the scene, their hearts pounding with a desperate hope of finding survivors. But the icy waters of the Potomac, unforgiving and treacherous, held little promise of life. Boats scoured the river, their searchlights cutting through the darkness. Divers plunged into the frigid depths, braving the currents and the debris. Helicopters circled overhead, their spotlights illuminating the grim scene. But as the hours passed, hope began to fade. The freezing temperatures, the force of the impact, the sheer magnitude of the tragedy, all pointed to a devastating loss of life. The rescue operation, once a beacon of hope, slowly transitioned into a heartbreaking recovery effort. The nation watched, hearts heavy, as the grim reality set in. The recovery of bodies became the priority. The focus shifted from finding survivors to bringing closure to grieving families. Section 5. Moving forward, a nation remembers. The crash has left an indelible mark on the nation's psyche. The images of the wreckage, the stories of the victims, the unanswered questions, all serve as a painful reminder of life's fragility. The nation mourns with the families of the victims, sharing in their grief and offering support. President Donald Trump expressed his condolences, praising the bravery of the first responders and vowing a full investigation. Newly sworn Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, thrust into the spotlight on his first day in office, pledged his unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth. The figure skating community, hit hard by the loss of so many of their own, has rallied together in support. Tributes have poured in from around the world, honoring the memory of the athletes and coaches lost in the tragedy. As the investigation continues, the nation will seek answers, demanding accountability, striving to prevent such tragedies from happening again. But even as we search for meaning in the face of unimaginable loss, we must never forget the victims. Their memories will forever be etched in our hearts.